Did you miss me? I missed you. I'm a busy man, but regardless, I've got a podcast to do. So today we're going to talk about a few things. Let's see, what would we have? We've had the Giro. This is the last time I was on. We've had the Giro. We've had the Dauphine. We've had the Tour of Suisse is going on. We've had some local racing. Olympics announcement has been made. Hearts are crushed. Dreams are made. What else do we have? Wout has a lawsuit against him that he lost. We'll talk about maybe a little bit about that. The Tour of Slovenia, the Rossitani, it goes on and on and on. I got in a road. We did a group ride. We do those group ride race or whatever. Pro was out there last week. He and I got away on a break for the end, and he out sprinted me. Wow, it was Cole Davis, good kid. It was we tacked at the same spot. This is the group ride we always do, and it's always the spot I like to attack at. It's just this klein little bit of a hill, and it's great for my skill set, quote unquote. And I looked over, and Cole was doing the same thing. So we got on his wheel, we went away from everybody. He did a lot of the work, and then I tried to sprint him at the end, and he came right past me. I almost posted up early just to make me feel like I had done something. What a good kid. Strong. We'll hope to see Cole Davis out there. Another local pro, Nilson Paulus, flying around there in Switzerland, and had a shot at it today. Look, I'm not going to go through all the results of everything. I've done no scripting for this show today. I just thought I've been so busy. And then just a lot of things going on. And I'm trying to do a little bit of bike racing, trying to eat some pizza, drink unhealthily, and so things just get away from you. But I thought the first thing we would talk about here is Mark Tucker pulls out. Let's see if we can. I don't want to kill everyone with their volume here. So he did the Copperopolis race, and he had a video release. So let's see if we can hear this. I don't even know if I can hear it.
Number
No.
346.
So I don't know what's going on with the audio. Maybe I'll be able to fix that while we talk. So he had a little comment, so I think we'll have to end up talking about that. And look, I mean, the truth is, he did a little bit of a rip on me. I think you want to see if this works now.
I kind of thought he looked like maybe Tyler Janke Jr. He's like a younger, fitter version of Tyler Janke, and on the same team. So that's probably a compliment to you, Tyler. Maybe not so much to, I think, Steven, the 35 guy, and then the other guy, Ariel, on the Thirst Bear team with the big curly hair.
Okay, so I'm hoping the audio comes through there. But basically, Mark Tucker talks about, you pull up this race here, Stefan, S-T-E-F-E-N, this is Stefan. He's sitting on the front here, first few minutes of the race, at least of the video that comes in here. And Mark Tucker then says, "Oh, this gentleman up here," you can see my sponsorship on the back of his family law attorney there, on the back of his kit. He says, "This is Steven is a younger, fitter Tyler Janke." By the way, that's not offensive to me. What's offensive to me is we are not the same, and one reason is, look at Stefan here. They go forever. Mark's back here ways. And maybe that's why Mark likes him, because Stefan just sits on the front for he's got no teammates in the race. And he's just sitting up here for minutes on the end, all by himself, just chugging along. No need to worry. Mark Tucker soon takes over on the front. So those guys have a lot in common. No teammates. I don't know. Maybe Mark had teammates out there to help him. What's interesting, though, they combined the 35s, 45s, and this Copperopolis race is pretty doozy. They get in a break, and it's some strong ones. Ariel Herman, reigning national champion. Mark Tucker, he's state champion. You had Stefan Creason, the reigning slimmer. He didn't say slimmer, but he is. He's got like girl hips, or prepubescent teen hips. He's a reigning, I don't know what he is, champion, and it was pretty solid. So they have the finish here. Let's see if we can just clip up here to the finish. Last little bit of the race.
line.
Marco's
So
going to probably lead them out.
it's right up here, right?
This is a good group they've got
Past
here.
that
You can see
moto,
the road's
maybe.
kind of nasty here. Ariel Herman has
There's
not
a
a
good little
bad kick. He's
crosswind
been
going
growing some
too.
hair out there. Damn. He's like a lion. Got the mane.
So it's kind of a right to left crosswind.
Okay, right to left
Approach the
crosswind.
finish. So again, the finish is those
Another,
trees.
I'm not sure which.
There's the 1K.
Thirsty Bear teammate with this.
And
Now,
we'll fast
for the 45,
forward.
this is the 35 finish here. The 45 finisher was in this
I
group,
just
and it
sat
was
third
Dan
wheel.
Bryant, and I think he is no longer part of this race. He decided to go on up the road. And Mark Tucker, I don't know if you let him go. I don't know what happened there. Come on, let's see if we can get to the finish. Oh, here's the finishing sprint and a bike throw. Now, I was trying to break this down earlier, and of course, I'm sure they have a camera, you would hope, for the finish here. But it's too hard to try to pinpoint. Okay. Point is, it was a bike throw there, finish there. Maybe we'll go through the results of the Copperopolis road race. Yeah, Copperopolis race happened last weekend. Oh man, I've got all kinds of issues today with the computer. Like I said, this is a show that I just decided to just throw on at one point, and then we would just, see what happened. So Copperopolis road race took place June 5. It had a bunch of categories, and I think we were going to go through some of the results and kind of give you an idea of who did what and who did where. Let's see if we can just share the entire screen. Damn, this is a rough day for those watching here. Luckily, we're not live. Okay, so results. Let's do the Pro 1, 2, 3, or just Pro 1, 2. Aiden McNeil of Cupertino wins. Chaz Turman, this Sanger, they're not showing the teams listed here. That's too bad. Lance Haydet, Tobin Ortenblatt, Robert Pierce. That's I don't know who Robert Pierce is. Quentin Felton, Andrew Shimizu of Team Mike's Bikes. He got in the break. I think he got a little hammered out there. You had Chris Harlan Dunaway, Tim McBurney, Finn Thompson, Wesley Marriott. Hey, good job, Wesley. Nicholas Jimenez, Adam Niven, Colin Simon. Colin Simon, solid work, dude. He comes out on a ride. He's if you remember the story of him, I think it was on the Garden Highway, him doing the river ride a few years ago. He had a wreck, pretty much ruined his career. I think he was kind of an up and comer. He comes out and does rides with us quite often. But look at all those DNFs. So Chris Reichert in the mix here. Will Brickler, Garrett Smith, Roman Kaloon. So a lot of people with the DNF, and Colin Simon, 14th place. Very impressed with that. And Andrew Shimizu in 7th place. The guy that, I don't know if Mike's Bikes realized he was up there. He's usually not allowed. And if he does, he's only allowed to be up the road to help other people. Cat 3s, Andrews Johnson, Skylar Taylor, Alex Russoff, Andrew Sanders, Cole Williams, Nick Buklowski, Evan Larson, James Yang. Those are the only ones. I don't really know any of these guys, so I wish I had the teams because that gives me a little bit of a help. Good job there on the 3s, Cat 4s, Gavin Flatty, Benedict Binns, Eli Reeves. I'm not sure if these are the right spellings, but okay. Lars Lofgren. Good job, Lars. He comes out and does ride with this too. He's approximately an older gentleman. 4th place. Let's see if I could just figure anybody out. He's a Cat 4 too, by the way. That's scary because he's super strong. Just don't think he's done enough road racing. Juniors, Kevin Locker, Finn Bork, Charlie Venot for the 1, 2, and 3 places there. Junior 10 to 14s, Maxwell Doyle, Aiden Zavala, David Avery. The women junior 15, there's only 2 of them, Chantel Tupaz and Jillian Gao Smith. 1, 2, Masters 35. Here we go. Ariel Herman gets the win, the reigning national champion, over bike throw of Stefan Creason. And then Benjamin Erickson, I think he was the other rider in that group there. Cat 1, Cat 2, and a Cat 3, respectively. Blaine Ashley, Jonathan Jatabalinski, Eugene Chan, and Richard Gable did not place. So they combined the 2 fields there. Let's go to the 45s because they were in the same actual field, much bigger field there. But as you can see, Dan Bryant, he beat everybody in that field. So he was up solo up the road. Mark Tucker was within the group of 3 there. And then Piers Berry and Kyle Glarum round out the top 4. And that went, but look at that. Jesse Moore, Jason Graffath, Dan Quirk, Jeremy Cattell, Chris Phipps, Jeremy Barnes, Mike Sayers, Zimney, Phil Teixeira, Matt Tufts, Nick Theobald, Fasani. I mean, there's a solid field, and for skinnier, younger Tyler Janke to get second place. Pretty thrilled with that. My results there for Stefan Creason. Who else do we have here? The 55, 1, 2, 3. Let's throw those in there. Joseph Foster and Thirsty Bear Guy, I believe. Chris Courtney, Scott Leahy, and Robert Easley, 1, 2, 3, and 4. The Masters 60. Should we go there? Of course, Kevin Metcalf, Jim Forrester. I think he's also a Thirsty Bear, and George Smith. Kevin Willits. Some decent names on that one too. Good to see everyone back out and riding there. How about do we have any women besides juniors? Women, Cat 3, road race women, just road race women. Erin McHale, I don't know what category that is. Cat 3s, Robin Betts. Kind of hard with the results. Maybe they just didn't have enough there in general. Look, Copperopolis, huge success, right? No, I mean, it was us. That's a nasty road. You can see that from I'd check out Mark Tucker's video. He slights me a little bit in there, so I'm proud of that. And you can see his the situation. Mark's always gives you a view from the front because that's where he puts down his watts. Just a hit there, Mark, off the front, just a little. Not to say that I'm one that needs to tell you how to ride, but if that's something you're going for, maybe it's something we can talk about. Okay, let's go to some results here. Maybe we'll just talk about the Giro real quick. We'll give that a quick wrap up before we kind of talk about a few other things. Maybe a spoiler alert if you've been in a hiatus for a while. Bernal won in convincing fashion, but we did see some stages there where there's some very interesting things happening. And one of those was Bernal having a little bit of trouble on the climb. So we saw him, getting some help from Martinez, and at the exact spot that he needed the most help, Martinez happened to be there for him. Martinez ends up, of course, Filippo Ganna wins another time trial or two there. Bernal first, Damiano Caruso, Simon Yates, Alexander Vlasov, Dan Martinez, João Almeida, Roman Bardet, Hugh Carthy in 8th, Tobias Foss, and Dan Martin of Israel Startup Nation, George Bennett in 11th. Some disappointments there for a few people. Some surprises there for some others. Damiano Caruso, as an example, did not start. I mean, you expected him. He's coming in here. He's going to actually work for Landa. That did not happen. Landa crashes out right away, so he gets put into it, and he's been a superb climbing domestique for years. Kind of I would call him the Wout Poles, getting the chance, maybe even Geraint Thomas. Geraint Thomas was, similar build, big guy, but can go uphill well. But now he's got his chance. And sometimes we saw Geraint, we saw Wout, both getting their shots. Wout, actually, teammate of Caruso, but getting their shots in the big events. Hey, you're going to lead the Giro this year, and then gets devastated on the, early on, and a crash, hits a motorbike. That was Geraint Thomas, I believe. So, different things have happened, but sometimes you put a lot of pressure on these guys and then doesn't happen. Whereas Caruso just, wasn't expecting it, and then it gets thrown to him, and he's riding, the fit form of his life, and really no pressure. He took it on there. You saw Yates win, you saw Bernal win, you saw Caruso win in the last few days. You saw Dan Martin get a win. So it was all just, some really good riding by these guys, especially the last bit. But Bernal was on a different level. And I think we saw that, barring a day or so there, you give his back a break, and he's going to a break, BREAK or BRAK. I don't know. Breaking his back. You give him his if he gives his back some rest, or he doesn't have, it's not going to be a problem. You can see how huge he is. Like last year, he was not at all in the picture for the Tour de France, and you had the Slovenians coming out, and then you've seen Caruso coming out in the Giro, and then you see Caruso coming out in the Vuelta, the year he won the Giro, and then 19, and then 20 in the Vuelta. You're seeing Carthy make that. You're just seeing a bunch of different stuff, and you kind of maybe forget about Bernal, and all of a sudden you're like, oh yeah, Bernal's young. Bernal's a nasty climber, and so it'll be interesting to see. I don't think he's going to the Tour de France, so it will be interesting to see what Ineos does there. So anyway, Bernal gets the win. Pretty happy for him, and his team was pretty happy. Am I? I don't know. I don't mind. I know Bernal, but I would have probably been pulling for Yates or João Almeida. It'll be interesting to see where he goes. It's all in hindsight, right? You can say, oh, but look, got to work for Remco. And so, that one day, I think he loses 4 to 6 minutes in the gravel in uh, the one day, the Strada Bianca day. And you say, but for that day, well, he had lost time earlier, so you have to help. But you know what? You don't, because you look, and I talked about this before, you just look at the last, what is the, why, why is DeQuan Quickstep throwing any of the eggs into the basket of Remco over that of Joao Almeida? Joao Almeida proved what he could do last year. Now look, you got others. What if it was a similar situation with Jai Hindley as an example, and then he's second in the Giro last year, and then just flops this year? Okay, but how had Joao Almeida been doing already this year? He'd been riding fairly well, and Remco had not had a day of racing since his crash over the the bridge in the Tour of Lombardia. Race of the Fallen Leaves. Is that what it is? I don't know. All right. What other races do we have to talk about? How about the Dauphine? We came in the Dauphine, and I expected high. I had high expectations for our one and only Sepp Kuss. He almost got he looked like he maybe getting a stage win the second to last day, and then he just blew apart the last day of the race. I have no clue as to what happened, but what did happen was pretty impressive win there by Richie Port and Geraint Thomas in third. Geraint Thomas is definitely riding different than he was last year, where it looked like he was still trying to struggle getting himself in position for the Tour, and then just didn't really happen for him there. Wilco Kelderman comes in fourth, Geraint Thomas in third, and Alexei Lutsenko in second. Now, that says something to me. That says when Alexei Lutsenko, now one day, this is a 7-day race. It's right up the alley of Richie Port. I don't suspect that Richie, because this is what he does: wins Pyrenees, he wins, Tour Down Under, he wins Dauphine's, but he doesn't win the Tour de France. He doesn't win the Giro. He got third in the Tour last year, but you shouldn't expect him, I think, to suddenly at his, ripe age now, to be making some vast improvement where he's going to be taking out everybody at the Tour. I could be wrong, because he's obviously, riding well, and things happen different with when you're on Ineos than when you're on other teams. So who knows? However, I'm not expecting that at him. And then when you see Alexei Lutsenko, who's done well, he's won, I think the race that featured the Mont Ventoux up to the Chalet a few years ago, last year or so, right before COVID happened. I think he'd won that on the overall. So he can definitely go uphill, but he's not a Tour de France stalwart. And if this was, much more climby, let's say a race you'd have in Tour of the Basque Country or something like that, he's not going to feature overall. So the climbs are bad, but they weren't all that bad. Valverde, I think he got a stage win there at the ripe old age of like 50. Kreuzuk in the top 15 there. Nairo Quintana just not looking very good. He's in the 16th, 18th there. Guillaume Martin had some tough time. Theo Gegenhardt in working for everybody ends up with the top 10. Enric Mas had some decent rides in there. Jack Haig, probably one of the more surprisers. Not surprises, but a little bit like, him and Ben O'Connor kind of coming up for the two teams that they ride for, the Bahrain and Groupama FDJ. So anyway, I was a little disappointed with Sepp. Falls right out of the top 10 there. Crashes down. I mean, he had Padun on the day that he won. Actually, Padun gets two wins back to back. He wins there the day he had been off in the break with, or not in the break, but with Sepp. Sepp was sixth that day, but he did blow up in the last 2K pretty harsh, going from second place and actually being in the lead with Padun to sixth place. And then Padun ends up winning again the next day. So Padun mentioned at the end that he had a little bit of weight issues he was working on. Evidently, he's resolved those. Look, you like a teenage girl with an eating disorder, and you are on your way to being a world-class superstar. Let's see what else we got here. Tour de Suisse is going on. The Belois Tour of Belgium, Tour of Slovenia. I saw stage 2, gorgeous area there in Slovenia, and like 20K to go. You see on the front, Tadej Pogačar with two of his teammates, Mahoric and who else was he? Oh, Mahoric's on Bahrain. Actually, we can actually just look and see who it was on stage. But he was with two other riders, and then he just takes off, and it's just like no one was in Diego Luisi and Rafael Maica. That's who it was. And then Pogačar just kills everyone by minute 22 over Madame Mahoric. So Mahoric's decent, but he's not like super climber. So you can tell when Jan Plonk and Mahoric in the top 10 of the stage, that the climbers at this race aren't necessarily stellar, and so it was a bit of an easy time for Tadej. And I think he's just out there doing his thing, trying to get ready for the tour, getting his fired up as he can. Tour de Suisse is going on right now. Pretty good race, and finished today with a little bit of a break there with Erman Persteiner, Rui Costa, Andreas Kron, just ahead of, you had Hugo Hule from Canada, by the way, Astana, Nelson Palace, Antoine Tolhok, Pierre Latour, and Gonzalo Serrano. The guys with Palace, I thought he was maybe going to be able to win this, but he lets that group go up, and then they almost closed them out at the end, but they didn't quite get him. In the end, Rui Costa, starting on the right side of the road. The road has a little bit of a bend to it, and Rui Costa takes off. He's leading the sprint. Kroon is coming around his left, and then Rui Costa really makes a hard move to his left, and then actually adjusts. I think it was a little bit egregious when I saw it at the time. Kroon throws his arms up, and I think he probably would have come across the line had he not been interfered with. And the results end up confirming that they swapped the first and second there, because there was a little bit of a gap to third place. So Costa was relegated to second, and Andres Kron gets the second place, the overall right now, Carapaz. That's because yesterday Carapaz took off like a rocket, and it was certainly impressive to see what he did. There was a group of like 6-8 in there, and he took off. The Carapaz, this guy is amazing. We saw him doing that in the Volta, in the Giro the year he won. We saw him doing that in the Volta last year, trying to come up at the end to take on Pogacar, Roglic, and did within 30 seconds of ended up doing that at the end. So very impressive. Will be interesting to see what happens at the Tour for that team being Ineos, and what they're going to be able to do. I think the Tour de France route has been, not the route, but the teams have been announced. So maybe we'll go here and see if they list them on. So not really. I mean, some not surprised here. Mark Hirschi has been having a tough time in Switzerland right now. He's not been Bessinger, by the way, won a stage for EF the other day over, and Joey Roscoff was in that group, rides for Rally. Bessinger rides for the US EF team, but he's Swiss. It's a pretty good finish there. And Raleigh's really been pushing down the pedal for the King of the Mountains. Having Zukowski out there, King, you got Roscoff. A bunch of these guys are, trying to get the King of the Mountain jersey. So it's been pretty impressive. Jumbo, Roglic, Tony Martin, Sepkus, Wout van Aert, Robert Gesink, Mike Tunisen, Jonas Vingegaard, and Steven Kruijswijk. So Steven Kruijswijk last year, remember, was going to be there. Ends up crashing out and hurting himself. I think before did he do that at all? And so he wasn't in the Tour de France team, and that makes a difference. I think, one, if he's riding well, he can throw. He's not been riding good enough when Sepp is dropping you and you're not really in the front groups in the Dauphine, and then the Tour de France is a year earlier or a week earlier this year due to the Olympics. You're not going to be much there. So I think it's all in for Roglic, assuming he's riding the Tour. Of course he is. Jonas Vingegaard, I think he's going to be a big help. You got him, Gesink, Wout. I mean, this is really looking, and I say Vingegaard has really stepped up. He's won some races now. He did a good job for them at the Vuelta last year. Kruijswijk, can be a superstar climber. Gesink has been a superstar domestique. Wout van Aert has been a superstar domestique for the second to last climb, or even starting up on the last climb. And then Tony Martin. I mean, this looks great. The only one you're missing there is Dumoulin, Dookie, and but he just came back. He's doing the Tour of Switzerland. He's having a little bit of a tough time, and I think he's just enjoying bike riding. So we're not going to really pressure him much. Ineos, they only have 3 riders set for the Tour de France: Gegenhardt, Geraint Thomas, and Richard Carapaz. That's going to be tough to do anything with just 3. Enric Mas and Angel Lopez, Superman, for no surprises here. Just kind of going through Froome's the only one on the Israel Startup Nation start list, and I'm sure these actually going to be on the team. So that's interesting that he's already listed there. Mikel Landa setting up for Bahrain Victorious, Fulsang, who said he's not going to be doing Tour de France or stage GC stuff anymore. We'll see. He did a really good job, almost getting the win. He just went too early with Carapaz yesterday. He dropped everyone else. Carapaz comes up to him. He does a great job of knowing that he's coming up, gets a little rest, jumps on his wheel, holds him for like the last, 1K and or so, K and a half, just kind of sits there, does some pulling through, and then takes off with 250 meters to go. You don't even do that in a full field sprint when you're going full. It was way too early to go against Carapaz. Carapaz then ended up coming around him. It wasn't easy coming around him, but it was maybe a little bit of a tactical ploy. You're kind of an oxygen jet, maybe just that you just don't really know. AG2R, who do they have going for them? Eh, no one really looking. I was going to see DSM. Last year they were the revelation of the tour, right? We had Duquani Quickstep only has Sam Bennett and Alaphilippe. It's gonna be tough with only two guys going there. I don't even see DSM listed yet, so they're like teams are coming in. We don't really know who else racing for everybody yet. Let's move on to some other racing news of the day. This guy gets kicked out of the Van Schip, thrown out of the Belouse Belgium tour over aero bars. So it looks like this guy here, he has the bars that are kind of snaked out. I don't even know if was he in the break. Maybe you don't get in the break. I mean, what's the purpose of having aero bars if you don't get in the break? But you're going to get caught with something like that if you are in the break. They're going to definitely see it. Chris Froome's contract does not guarantee Tour de France selection, says Verbrugge. Well, okay, that's good to hear. Taylor Wiles heartbroken after missing out on Olympic selection. Now, I will talk about the Olympic selections. It's really easy to talk about the men because there's just two of them, McNulty and Lawson Craddock. How is it that a nation that we have such former greats as Lance Armstrong, Tyler Hamilton, the list goes out, Floyd Landis, that we only have two riders that are we only qualify to have two riders in the World Tour and Olympics. I think that's pretty pathetic. That's on our riders, and maybe it'll start changing here after a while. I bet Canada has more than us, and that's partly on Mike Woods. A few of these other guys of doing a great job lately. But as far as the women go, I'm sure Taylor Wiles is hurt, but so is Kristen Faulkner. Kristen Faulkner, who's actually had results this year. I don't know that Taylor Wiles has had any results this year. So you look at the women's selection, and we'll go through some of that as well for the roadside here. Look, COVID put a damper and put kind of a kibosh on all this because they had to restructure the selection process, and it went to where they didn't have a mandate, but they had kind of a guideline for the USA Cycling to say, hey, take into account COVID should not really screw someone over because we had it a year later. So we shouldn't really screw them over if they were already kind of pre-selected or the points were going in before. However, it also shouldn't screw someone over that's now had a good time. So when you look at a few people, and one of those, Kristen Faulkner, didn't even really start doing great racing. She's with Tibco team until 2020. She's been ripping it up. And if it was just on points for the last 2 years, she'd probably be a selection, an automatic selection for the US team. However, then on the other side was who had those selection points if we had the Olympics last year? Well, it was Corn Rivera. Corn Rivera, though, has been MIA last year and a half or so. But I don't know if COVID took her out. I don't even know if she's still racing. She gets selected to the team. I haven't seen her doing anything. And then you get a Kristen Faulkner who doesn't get anything, and she's been kind of coming up. So, once again, it's a selection process. It's a big problem. I didn't even know Taylor Wiles. I don't know Taylor Wiles was on the near the selection. Rivera, although a highly decorated rider with 792 U.S. national titles over multiple disciplines, missed a large portion of the early season due to total understandable personal reasons. Well, I don't know what those are. While Diger, who will race road and track, has not raced competitively since her career-threatening crash in last year's time trial. Thomas had a strong 2020 winning stage incentive. Yeah, she was fourth. Who is Thomas? So we're looking at a bunch of different ones here. The problem is with the women's side is that you are getting a very big. The pool is better than the men's side, I would say, as far as the competition for how the women are, and they actually get several selections compared to the men, and so it was a tough go for them. I did have a link here. I don't see it anymore. Whatever. We're going to kind of just have to figure out. Look, who was selected for the women's teams here? Let's try to see if we can find that. Well, Taylor Wiles is disappointed. I get it. Chloe Dargart, that's the other interesting one because she's an automatic selection and she hasn't done anything, for quite some time. Why is it only about Taylor Wiles? And well, Taylor Walls heartbroken. Okay, yeah. That's how we do it, people. We search the web. We got some websites to go through here. Here we go. Tokyo Olympics. Chloe Dygert, Kate Courtney headline U.S. squad. So look, Dygert, you don't really argue. I mean, if she's anywhere near okay, she's obviously needs to be there. Now I don't know about the road race, but she definitely selected for the time trial. For the men, like I said, it's Lawson Craddock and Brandon McNulty. Makes sense, kind of. I don't really know what they went off of the criteria for there. I think Lawson Craddock had turned it down. I don't know if Nilson Powless. I think he had been provisionally tagged last time, so I don't know if there was an issue with him making it. There you go. Road race, Craddock, Brandon McNulty. So 2 of those for the road race and time trial. They can both go well. Brandon McNulty actually has a chance here in the time trial because he's put up some good times. Women, Chloe Dygert for the road race and time trial. Amber Neben just for the time trial. Corn Rivera, the road race. Leah Thomas for the road race. Ruth Winder of the road race. No, Ruth. I think it was Brabant's Appeal. She ends up winning that this year. She's been pretty good. So she gets some points. Once again, Leah Thomas, I think, has won a few things here and there. She's from Santa Clara. Corin, no, like I said, I don't. Okay, personal problems all aside, doesn't really qualify. I'm a little disappointed in that one, and I understand she had all the points from him before, but too bad. Oh, that's what we have. There was another issue I wanted to look at here, which was Wout van Aert ordered to pay £662 to Nick Noynes due to breaking contract with old team. So this thing's been going to court for a little bit. And sometimes you often see these kind of things where the rider has a contract, they go out of it early, they get bought out, and they go to a different team. Happens all the time. Bradley Wiggins had done that with EF going to Sky at the time, and there's been rumors. Point is, it's happened, but you typically have it where they're still in contract, and so the new team is buying out for whatever reason. And that look, so there's a lot of drama with Wout at the time where, was this going to happen? Was it not? Was he going to do this? Well, he ends up with the Krellins team breaking the contract himself. He said they were in breach. Therefore, he did not have to continue. He had his own jersey for cyclocross. He quit. Then he just goes and signs with Jumbo. The problem that he had here with that is that he is now, they sued him, and he's saying, well, you broke your contract, therefore I broke, I wasn't breaking the contract. Now the guy's like, look, you screwed us over. You got to show damages, other sponsorship, all these different things. And this court has come out and said, yeah, he did damage them. He owes them 600, almost almost two, geez, almost a million pounds there to the team, a little over $500,000. And so he's still, they're going to appeal this, of course. Now, the problem he had was if he had gone to a new team, I'm sure Jumbo would have paid something for him to leave the other one. He wanted to just be done with it. So I don't think it was a great business. He would at least would have had a little protection with the new buyout. Will Jumbo be paying for this? And they're not in the hook for it, but they probably don't want their rider, in dire straits either. And maybe they would say, look, it was to our benefit that you signed. I will gladly then, put out some of this to help you. I believe, he has a chance here. I don't know what the whole issue was with the case. If they took it down and they got a breakdown to whether the other team broke their contract, with the team broke the contract, that's why he can get out. I'm sure that whole analysis is done. That's a ton of money. I mean, if this was a U.S. cycling team, it would probably just say 2,000 because let's be honest, you don't get paid much here. He was riding for the Sniper Cycling BVBA organization, which had both his road and cyclocross teams in 18, but decided to break his contract to join World Tour team Jumbo Visma, where he has had huge success. Once again, he decided to do, this story is a little bit different than the other ones I read, where he had a delineation, a period there where he was on his own. Matter of fact, he raced on a self-titled jersey, I think it was, for cyclocross, which is a little different. If you're just breaking it and going, I mean, I would not want to take down the obligation for the new team unless I've had some clear. You're clear. It's like buying a house, free and clear title. You kind of want to make sure you're doing that as well. This is a weird thing. Harrison Ford spotted in cycling kit near Newcastle. This has got to be a bad link. I don't think that's an actual thing. Well, people, I think we're coming near the end of time. Chris has sent me over a text here, and I guess Tulsa Tough is going on, and Timmy is out there too. Not sure if he's in this race for the P1 later. You can hear Dave told in the audio. Time for Donnybrook. Yeah. Did you send me a link, Chris? That's what I'm looking for. There's a lot of text here that haven't been going on. So Tulsa Tough. I guess it's going on tonight. So it's Friday night. Go out there and get your Tulsa Tough on, people. That's all I have for you now. Mark Tucker, remember, Tyler Janke, Steven is a faster, slimmer, better looking Tyler Janke. But Tyler Janke doesn't sit on the front and waste energy. He doesn't sit on the front very much at all. So, no, we are not the same. Stefan also gets results, as you saw there in that video. Hope you guys get some results. All the best to you. It is the 11th of June. Share our show, people. Just write a little comment. You can rate it. I don't care how you rate. Well, I do care. Give us 5 stars. Rate it somewhere. All those little things. Comment on the YouTube thing. It helps our analytics. Gets our views up. Maybe if your views are up, I'll actually do a show more than once a month. That's the first time I think I missed. You've been doing once a week. There's 239 episodes plus. And I think that's the first time we've really gone that many weeks. All the best to everybody. It's great. See you at the end of the Tour de France. Later.